Verstappen dominates Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Are Ferrari just blowing smoke? Oh, and Yuki's broke his flaps! Duct tape out, lads. Welcome to the Late Night Race Review.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Late Night Race Review for Sunday, the 12th of June. I'm Dave Jericho, she's Owen Scott, and this week we'll be taking a look back at a rather interesting Azerbaijan Grand Prix, how the driver and constructors tables are looking, and of course the highlight of the hour, the predictions game, as we look forward to the Canadian Grand Prix. Also, we just want to take a quick minute to thank the listeners of the cast. The audience numbers have been going up a lot quicker than we had expected them to. So thanks for joining us each week, and keep those likes, follows, subscribes coming in. And of course, don't forget to share the podcast with friends and family and, well, whoever else you know. Now, that's enough hanging around. Let's get on with the show, Scotty.
How's Dave? A happy post-race Sunday to you, man. How are you keeping?
Pretty good. I was Azerbaijan. I tend to always look forward to it. It usually throws up a few nice surprises, so I'm a happy camper today.
Yeah, I like Azerbaijan, I have to say. It's a very fun track. I think an appropriate place to start, Dave, is we'll go from the top and we'll talk about Max Verstappen, our sixth different winner of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and a just deserved win. What did you think of Max today? Yeah,
he did a solid job, didn't he? And you're right, just deserved is right. I mean, he was hard done by last season with the blowout on the straight. Even though it gave us some comical memes of him kicking the tire of it of that Red Bull. Yeah. But he had a good race. I mean, he had a good start. Him and Perez both got off the line really well. I think he could have taken Leclerc, only he got sort of boxed in between Perez and Leclerc. So I mean, he obviously couldn't squeeze through. But I mean, after that, I mean, he look, it was a stable race. He bided his time. I mean, I think he got Perez on, was it lap 16 or something like that? He took Perez on lap 15, something like that. And then he just controlled the race from there. I mean, he just started streaking ahead of everybody, didn't he? I mean, he finished 20 seconds ahead of Perez by the end of the race.
No catching him.
No catching him. I mean, he was, and I don't even know whether the Ferraris had stayed on the track, would they have kept up with him? I mean, he just had the pace. He was adamant he was winning today, and he did. Yeah, professional drive.
Yeah, it was a well controlled race by Red Bull and Max, in fairness. However, his teammate Checo perhaps not as strong, even though he had a fantastic start. Took Charles into turn one. And boxed out, not on purpose, but boxed out Verstappen and took the lead of the race. Even though he came second to give Red Bull a 1-2, where did Checo's pace go? He seemed to disappear.
I don't know. Although, before we get on to Checo's race, I was ready to text you because I thought, look, when I saw Perez streak away in the lead and like he just started stretching. Like, I mean, I think after lap 3 or something like that, he was already like a couple of seconds of a gap between him and Leclerc in second. So I was like, I was jumping the gun. I was ready to text everyone, kind of going, "Oh, this guy's got the win today." Yeah. And then I realized I didn't actually have him as number one in my predictions from last week. So I was like, "Well, good job I didn't send that text. That would have been wrong all around." So, but his pace. Look, I don't know. From his interviews at the end of the race, he had about 1,000,001 different sort of reasons as to where his pace had gone. The start of the race, I would have assumed he sort of burnt up his tires. I mean, he really gunned it from the get-go. So I could only assume he started burning up his tires, but that only sort of holds weight for so long because, you know, when him and Max then ended up both out on the hard compound tire, he didn't make any inroads into Max. He didn't really, you know, in fact, he just started dropping off. I think at one point he was, I could be wrong, but I think he was like sort of like 6.5 seconds after the final pit stop. But then by the end of the race, you know, he's sort of, you're looking at 20 odd seconds or something to that effect. So I don't know. I thought it was a race that was going to suit him. I was kind of excited that I thought he was going to win. But look, we'll roll on to Canada. He got second. He's still, I mean, what is he now? He's only, was he 21 points behind Verstappen in the driver's table?
Yeah, not far off.
he's still in there. He's still in there. So the only thing I was a bit sort of questioning was when it wasn't team orders, but when they were saying no fighting.
Yeah.
Now, I know it wasn't team orders. I understand it was, they were basically saying, look, Max is coming behind you. He's like a second, a lap quicker. Just let him by. There's, otherwise you're just going to hold each other up and there's going to be tears.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the two of them, the next person behind was George Russell, who was 22 seconds back or something like that. So you're thinking, why not let them race? If he can, now he's not going to hold up Max Verstappen, because by the time they get round to the next lap round onto that pit straight, Max Verstappen would have breezed by him anyway. But still, I don't think there was any reason to not let them race. I think they understand race, but lads, don't take each other out. Give them the benefit of the doubt. I don't think they've ever done, there's ever been that level of collision between them. Give them the benefit of the doubt. Let them race a little bit hard. Perez is going for a driver title here as well. And they not long ago came out by saying that, we're not going to give any team orders. But look, second place, he's still in there with a chance.
Yeah, Red Bull did come out publicly and say, we're going to let them race. But was there a little hint there of maybe you're seeing that Max is definitely still obviously number one, and they don't want to kind of hinder him at all? Was there something from Red Bull today, kind of not holding Perez back, I guess, but just putting Max in a different strategy or a more advantageous path to victory?
No, Perez had bad luck with the pit stop. He had a 5.7 second pit stop. But again, when you consider 3 seconds longer in the pit stop, he still finished 19 seconds back. So, in the grand scheme of things, that's nothing. I just think it came across that Red Bull were more nervous that their two drivers wouldn't race fair and could end up taking each other out.
Yeah.
Which, I'd be honest, I don't think that would have happened. I don't think Perez is that type of driver. I think he would know, he'd know when he couldn't keep Verstappen behind him and just let him past.
Yeah.
So it just came across that, the pit wall were just a little bit too nervous to let them go at it. So they just threw out the order there to Perez, no fighting, and he just let him by. So pity, but like I said, I don't think he would have kept Max behind for the whole race anyway. So it's probably irrelevant, this conversation.
Yeah.
But it just maybe speaks to the mindset in Red Bull about what they will do in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, possibly flashbacks of the Verstappen Ricciardo coming together a few years ago in Baku as well. So going from, say, lack of pace from Checo to lack of reliability, Ferrari this weekend, holy moly. Really a weekend to forget. Sainz going out with a hydraulic issue quite early on, and then Leclerc with engine failure. Absolute disaster for Ferrari all round, and Ferrari engines all round.
I feel sorry for Leclerc. I don't, sorry, Sainz, but I don't necessarily feel sorry for Sainz because he brings a lot of drama on himself. But I feel sorry for Leclerc. He was in with a shout, and we said this go back to one of the earlier podcasts. Go back to maybe Jeddah or something like that. I can't quite remember. And everyone was on the Ferrari bandwagon. We were, the hype train was rolling fast. And we said it on that podcast. We said, if anyone's going to fuck this up, it's going to be Ferrari. Lo and behold, we've got bad pick calls. We are bad strategies. We've got, reliability issues. So I feel for Leclerc. I don't know how much pace he would have had versus the Red Bulls today. I think possibly he would have had a second place. The fact that, and that's purely because Checo didn't have a great race in terms of the sheer pace he was setting, even though he got the fastest lap, which is a bit ironic in itself. So we got a engine failure for Leclerc. We got a hydraulic issue for for Sainz. And I'll be honest, I don't know whether we're going to get much more detail than that. I haven't gone checking before we start recording here. I haven't gone checking to see if there's any news out, because usually Ferrari don't give too much details.
Yeah, they're fairly secretive.
On what happened with engine failures and stuff like that. So yeah, unfortunately, a double DNF, big fucking goose egg for Ferrari this week.
Horrible.
And
Absolutely
a huge
horrible.
impact, like an absolute huge impact. Even at this stage, that's a huge impact into their... It's a huge impact to the driver's title, but even a bigger impact for the constructor title. I mean, they are rolling on, I think they're 80 odd points now behind Red Bull. That's massive, especially when you've got a number 2 driver like Sainz, who is so inconsistent.
Yeah,
we've said it literally every episode we harp on about. It's the number 2 drivers that are going to determine who wins this constructor's title, and it's starting to show already.
Yeah, and more importantly, not only the constructors and the drivers' championship, our predictions game was rightly messed up. Sainz was in my predictions and Isidro's predictions as well. I'm not sure about your 1, 2, 3. Was there any Ferrari drivers?
Yeah, I had Leclerc winning.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're rightly screwing up our game as well, which is
which is bang out of form. Yeah, it's bang out of form. It was selfish pricks.
But as you say, I mean, we're 8 races in now. They're starting to rack up these races. We're talking about, it's the start of the season. They can kind of get away with little bits here and there, but we are starting to kind of get through the season a little bit now.
We are, yeah.
They're going to have to watch that they're not drifting back a little bit too far, and Red Bull don't run away with this too quickly.
And we're going to end up into the scenario where, they're going to be taking penalties for multiple engines, multiple components. Yeah, they've put themselves in a tough spot, and they put Charles in a tough spot now for the driver's title. And it smacks of something. Bonotto came out. Was it during the week? And he said, and I'm really gonna butcher the quote of what he said here. So
say it in Italian as well, if you like.
Yeah,
butcher it properly,
as if I'm working behind a pizza counter. No, he was saying that basically that this season, their objectives this season was to be competitive, and they've met those objectives, and that they are competitive. But to win the title is another step altogether, completely. So, and you're like, are you just laying the groundwork? Are you seeing something behind the scenes here?
Yeah.
Now, not saying they foresaw the DNF happening in Baku, but are they seeing something for over the duration of the season that they know that they're possibly not going to be able to keep up with Red Bull, maybe from a development side of things? Maybe Red Bull are going to be able to develop more. Maybe Ferrari have already maxed out or are closing in on maxing out their spend already for this year, and they're worried that maybe Red Bull haven't. So I don't know, but it was just like they were sort of laying the groundwork there for some poor results, so we're not all disappointed.
Yeah, it's laying, as you say, laying the groundwork for getting the excuses in nice and early to make sure that you can walk away with some face later on. It's like we told you early on that we weren't going to be completely competitive.
Exactly. What, do you think we were going to win?
Possibly Ferrari have gotten out of the habit of winning titles and winning, not winning races, but winning titles for sure.
They got out of the habit of finishing races as well.
Yeah, that too. But I mean, Charles is really going to have to be careful now, because Mr. Consistency, George Russell, is on 99 points after today, creeping up slowly. Charles is on 116. He's going to have to watch that George doesn't overtake him pretty soon.
Isn't it ridiculous to think that? There's like, what's that? There's 17 points?
Yeah.
17? There's 17 points between Leclerc and Russell after 8 races. That's just madness that's actually even happening.
Yeah. And Russell back on the podium today. Now that we're on Russell, let's talk about him a little bit. He had a bit of a bumpy race, same as Lewis. But what did you think of George and Mr. Consistency today?
Oh my God! Like that guy, we've always said he's gonna the man's gonna be a world champion. Like he's
definitely.
he's done this with Williams. Like I used to I used to talk to my dad watches Formula One all the time, and he'd be now he says the same thing about Mick Schumacher at the moment, but when George Russell was at Williams, it's like they rate him as a good driver. He's not a good driver. Like I mean, he's only finishing like 14th or 13th. You're like, yeah, but he's doing it in a shopping trolley with a wind sail. Like, like what did you like? You see how much he squeezed out of that Williams. So it's no surprise that he's able to adapt to this car. So the consistency, I mean, look, wasn't he was Mr. Saturday last season, consistently getting into Q3 with that Williams. Now he's Mr. Consistency for always in the top 5 in that Mercedes. So more power to him. However, when he's being interviewed, Jesus, like I mean to say, my elbows hurt like when I see him. It's like he's doing you a favor talking to you.
Yeah,
and you're like,
yeah.
Like, pull that out of your arse, George.
Yeah.
And go sit in your car.
But I mean, has he earned the right to do that? He is now
not in the slightest.
Now, hold on a second. He has the same car as Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton is arguably one of the greatest F1 drivers of all time. He is now, I would argue that Russell is the number 1 driver at Mercedes at the moment.
In terms of performance,
yeah,
of course, yeah, absolutely.
Has obviously, you've said it before as well. George has come from Williams. He's dealt with a terrible car for so long that he's so used to just making do and getting as you say, a shopping trolley around a track, that even this Mercedes is something that it's a pleasure for him to drive this almost. Whereas Hamilton, you look at last year's Mercedes car, that was an unbelievable car. To go from that to sitting in what he's sitting in now must be a culture shock completely.
Yeah, it's terrible, and it really is. But I mean, at the end of the day, he is a professional driver. Surely, strap on a pair. Like, just come on, just get on with it. Get stuck in. Like, I mean, we there's only so much moaning we can listen to. Like, and even that today, I know we'll be talking about it later, but just, when he was the porpoising and the bouncing on the track, I think maybe he laid it on a bit thick. I don't know.
Yeah. There was him getting out of the car, and I felt a little bit of that was slightly put on.
I do as well. From someone who has suffered for about 25 years with slip discs, herniated discs, and all kinds of issues with my back. I know when there's pain in your back, you are crippled. Like, when it's bad, like proper pain, like when he's explaining to us how bad that his pain is, that he's praying for the race to end.
Yeah.
If it's that level of pain, like, you need people to carry you out of that car. Like,
yeah, exactly.
And yet he's just sitting there kind of going, oh my God, the pain. And you're like, strap on a pair, like, just come on, get on with it.
Yeah.
So I think, like I said, George is no nonsense, no messing. Like, he's used to this in Williams. Again, he's just gets down to business. This is what I've got to work with. Let's push it as fast as I can. Hamilton on the other side of the fence there saying, like, I'm used to something better. This car doesn't work for me. And like I said, in recent races, I think he has had a bad run of luck as well, which isn't going in his favor. So I do think as the races go on, he will improve. I think he's expecting he's going to be back. I think he made a comment a couple of weeks ago about being back sort of in the mixer for Silverstone. But right. I'll be honest, I think George Russell could be more eager and hungry to win at Silverstone in this current car than Hamilton is.
Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, though, like, it wasn't a bad result for him today. He's ended up in 4th, Now,
can I just also say something? For anyone that listened last week, for Mr. Isidro, who magically isn't here this evening. He's at his Duran Duran concert. Yeah, coincidence. Yeah. I did say now, okay, we got lucky with the Ferraris dropping out, but I
Yeah.
did say 3-4 for Mercedes. And I mean, Zedro was only one step short of fucking coming down the webcam at me. Lost his mind.
Yeah, you were bang on there. You were bang on. And at the start of, I think it was free practice one, it did look quite good. And then
It went
they didn't
downhill pretty
perform
quick.
quite, didn't
Yeah.
perform quite too well in the next two free practice sessions. But yeah, I was expecting a little bit more even in terms of performance in qualifying from Mercedes, but they just didn't seem to quite put it together. But I say they have the result at the end of the weekend that they were looking for. Sure.
Just now, there's sort of a new kind of conversation striking up now about the sort of the drivers, maybe sort of talking about, speaking the same message really to the FIA about maybe doing something about this. And I did see that the FIA had proposed some regulation changes that would have maybe assisted the teams to prevent this from happening, or to at least make the rides more comfortable for the drivers.
Right.
But they needed it. They need an 8 out of 10 majority for any of those sort of rules to go through. And there was, by the sounds of it, there was 3 teams that vetoed the suggestions.
Okay.
And I'm guessing those 3 teams are the 3 teams that
are benefiting,
would stand to lose the most. I mean, I'm guessing they're going to be Red Bull, Ferrari, and I mean, who's probably porpoising the least out there? Is it the
Alpine,
Alfa Romeo?
maybe?
Alpines? Yeah, Alpines are. I think Alfa Romeo are pretty good, aren't they?
Yeah, they're doing quite well as well. Yeah.
So maybe one of those teams, probably Alpine. You're probably right, because I think they're really starting to hone in on. I mean, they were quick down the straight today, so I think they're really starting to hone in and unlock that car.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, what are the possible? What's the solutions to this? Are we talking about? Is ground effect is here to stay? Really, isn't it? That's not going anywhere.
No. So, and before anyone thinks about active suspension and stuff like that, that ain't ever coming back. Well, it's certainly not coming back in this era of Formula One.
Right.
And I'd be very surprised if it comes back in the 2026 changes. So I think I'm going to say, and I don't know, because in the articles I've managed to read about this, I didn't see any what they actually suggested. But my guess would be it would be enforcing a ride height on the cars.
Right.
Because at the moment you can run that car as low. I don't think there's a minimum requirement. So I mean, you can literally run that car as close to the road as you want once you get the performance you need out of it. But unfortunately, so teams that are sort of like Red Bull, where the floor doesn't flex as much, they can run their car really low to the ground, get obviously more downforce, get more performance. Whereas teams obviously like Mercedes, we see when they try and have the car at that same sort of ride height, they're like, as Daniel Ricciardo says, like a basketball being bounced down the pit straight.
Yeah.
But if they enforced a minimum ride height of however many centimeters or whatever, that would mean that everybody loses that same level of performance, and you would need to engineer that out of the, that, and to regain that performance in a different manner. So I don't think, from a spectator side of things, I don't think we will notice it too much. I don't think we'd visually see the cars, the performance drop, the speeds and stuff like that drop enough from a visual side of things. So I think that's a no-brainer for this season and possibly next season, until because I do think there's a safety issue. I think Lewis Hamilton has maybe overplayed it a little bit. I know Toto Wolff has come out there and said that there's a likelihood that he might not make the Canadian Grand Prix next weekend. And I hope that's not true. Because if it is true, then look, we're making light for for the wrong reasons.
Sure.
I'd be surprised if that is the case. I think they're just laying it on thick to try and get something happening because they stand to gain the most if they were to do something like that with the enforce a ride height across the board. Obviously, Mercedes stand to gain the most because they have the performance now in that engine. If everybody else was going to lose the performance that they would lose by increasing the ride height to stop that porpoising and bouncing effect, then then it's a win-win for them.
Let's have a little look at the McLarens today, because they had started back. Was it 11 and 12th? They had qualified. I think they qualified 11 and 12, and they made it up to 8th and 9th on the grid. Double points finish, which is great for McLaren. Finally, Daniel Ricciardo getting into some points. He possibly could have gotten more from the race today. What was going on with strategy there? There was a bit of back and forth between the two drivers and the pit wall, and it was a little bit cumbersome today between pit orders and the two drivers.
Yeah, I think Daniel Ricciardo got screwed.
Really?
Yeah, I think he got shafted today.
Right.
I think he was sort of towards the first sort of pit stops. You had he was on the hard tires going faster than I'm pretty sure now he was on the hard tires, but he was going faster than Lando.
He was. Yeah, they were on a different strategy, the both of them.
And he'd obviously been on the radio kind of saying, I'm quicker, let me by. Now the argument is if you were quicker, you could have taken him on the straights. But look, that aside, he's saying he's quicker, let me by. They're saying no, stay put because it's going to, that's going to help with, I think it was the overcut that they were trying to do with Lando's strategy.
That's right, which didn't end up coming off, by the way.
Exactly. And so Daniel kind of played the team game, perfectly. He said, okay, fair enough. But, I'm going to have Gasly taking me soon enough. And they said, basically, we don't give a shit. Like, stay put. It's about Lando's. Which he did, yeah. And it was about Lando's strategy. Then, only a lap or 2 laps later, Lando comes in for the pit stop. Gasly obviously takes Ricciardo. Lando comes out way down the back somewhere. And then Daniel just started struggling from there. He just didn't really I think had he have gotten past Lando at the start, I don't know. I think he definitely would have been, I don't know, would he have maybe been up around George Russell? Maybe not. Obviously, he didn't have the straight line speed to be competing with George Russell, but I just think he maybe could have been up around the 5th or 6th place. Maybe 6th place might have been a bit more realistic.
Yeah.
But what annoyed me about this even more, and I love Lando Norris, and I get it, he's a racer, he just wanted to race. But at the end, Lando saying, sort of, I'm quicker, get Daniel out of the way because he's not going past the Alpine. So let me pass. And they're saying, no, hold station. Daniel played the team game at the start. So you hold station and play the team game at the end here. Because no one was getting past the Alpine. It was so quick in the straight. Now I know Lando was being a bit cheeky, he was buzzing right up to, he almost looked like he was going to take him, I think, on the second last lap. Just to sort of show Daniel, I could take you if I wanted to, but the team have told me not to, and I just think it was all really bad for, I just let the bad taste in my mouth about it, because I just thought Daniel should have been further up. I think he got screwed on the strategy at the start. His own race strategy, I think, was compromised as a result. And then that kind of crack with Norris at the end, I thought just bad form. It kind of, at least the team told him to stay station and let Daniel take that victory. But either way, I think it was the least they can do, considering they really hindered him at the start.
Now, is there a question there of confidence on McLaren's part in Daniel Ricciardo? He hasn't done an awful lot this season already to fill that team full of confidence, to say that he has the pace to do anything. So when Daniel says, I have the pace, I can do this, is it fair on McLaren's part to go, well, you know what, we don't really trust you. Lando's proven what he can do. He's clearly our number one driver, and we have to put the confidence in him.
Yeah. So yeah, yes is one way of putting it, but no, in the sense that for today's race, at no point did I feel watching it that Lando was, other than at the very end, but that was because he had the DRS from that 2.2 kilometer fucking straight.
Yeah.
Um, but otherwise, I just never felt that Lando was going past him. I didn't think he was quicker. I think, like I said, I think Daniel could have been further up the field had he have been allowed sort of get past at the start. So I think the team just need to also, like, look, it would be terrible to say that they were doing it because they don't have trust in him, because at the end of the day, you're paying him a lot of money.
Mm.
He's sitting in your car. If you don't have trust in him, I mean, there's nothing stopping you terminating his contract and putting in whoever I think, is it Van Dorn or something, whoever the reserve driver would be that would step in.
Sure.
But that's not the case. He's obviously a good driver. He's a talented driver. He had the pace today. Let him go for it. But
Yeah.
look, they sort of sacrificed him a little bit at the expense of Lando Norris, and it didn't come off for Lando Norris either. And he ended up finishing behind Daniel anyway. And even if he had got past Daniel, like if they didn't tell him to hold station, he still wouldn't have got past the Alpine anyway.
Yeah.
The two
yeah.
of them were just stuck behind that Alpine, who had, I think they were saying that Alonso, was it, a rock on set 347, I think 348,
I think it
through
was
the speed
Alonso.
trap. So
Yeah.
like
Possibly Alonso.
the McLaren was set up today for the twisty bits. Like, it was set up for a bit more downforce on the twisty bits and more drag on the straight, whereas the Alpine was set up in the opposite. So because unless you get past going into turn 1 or into turn 3, they're your two major overtaking points. So the Alpines knew that if no one can catch them on the straights to make those overtakes into turn 1 and turn 3, then there's rarely any overtakes done anywhere else on the track.
Yeah.
So yeah, but anyway, that's McLaren.
Yeah, let's look down the grid a little tiny bit. Although not down the grid at all, actually. Let's head forward in the grid to Pierre Gasly. I'm so used to saying that the AlphaTauris are a little bit further back down the grid, but Gasly ended up in fifth today. Great performance by Gasly, and can I just mention a great performance by the pit crew of AlphaTauri, straight out with the duct tape. Getting that wing working again and getting him straight out before anyone could get down those stairs to them to
the
tell
FIA
them no.
Man legging it to tell them, don't you dare throw that car back out on that track. And they're just like, go, go, go.
It was fantastic. So talk to me a little bit about AlphaTauri today and how they performed.
I mean, look, there's not much to say. Like you said, you said it. They've because they've been really poor this season in comparison to last season. So, yeah, just a great result from Gasly. I think Yuki Tsunoda would have had a better result, only for the black and orange flag came out for his half a flapping away. But that was a highlight of the race for me today. I just thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
That they're frantically throwing the duct tape on, and you can hear was it Crofty or Kravitz on the commentary saying, and the FIA man he's running down to try and stop them, and they just like send the car out.
Go, go, go. Yeah, it was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. That was a fantastic moment of the race. That was quite late on, was it? There wasn't long left.
Probably, yeah. I think it was like lap 41 or something like that. I think there was about 10 laps left or something, maybe something like that.
And obviously no DRS then for Tsunoda. They just wanted to try and get it out there and make sure it got round to the end.
Yeah, it was funny actually, because when actually it was lap 39 actually, but it was just after that Max was told not to use the DRS.
That's right. Yeah.
So because I know Max has I think they were trying to explain that basically the carbon fiber on that DRS flap on that Red Bull is really thin. They've got they've gone to within an inch of its life in terms of the rules. Right. But I think that was what was causing, because remember in the practice, was it in free practice 3 or something like that? There was that.
Yeah, it was flapping.
An oscillation or something like that. Sure. You know, that's flapping that was going on. So I'd imagine they felt that if Yuki Tsunoda's wing had snapped, then there's a chance that theirs are. And ironically, obviously, the AlphaTauri is the sister team to Red Bull. So magic how one breaks and then Red Bull are worried that theirs might break.
Yeah. Do you think it was just a case of Red Bull looked around the garage and like, shit, we have no masking tape. Tell them not to use the DRS. Don't use the DRS.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Or run down to AlphaTauri and get a loan of their masking tape real
Some
quick.
Gorilla Glue.
Yeah. Going much further down the grid. Mick Schumacher today, the human missile. He got a bit of a rough deal today, Dave, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he'd bad run of luck. I mean, he had actually. Let me think. Okay, let me construct my rant here a little bit.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Because I'm a bit annoyed. I was be honest. I was ranting at the TV on my own. My wife wasn't even in the room to rant to. I was just actually ranting on my own. Would you look at that? Would you look at what they're doing? Like there's nobody in the room with me. But I think Haas are terrible at making decisions when, so obviously Schumacher so there was a red flag in Q3 on yesterday.
Yeah.
And I think we had 2 minutes and something, which, obviously on a warm-up lap around start flying lap is not enough to get a full complement of cars around.
Yeah.
So this is the first irritation I have with Haas, because this has happened before, and they're towards the business end of the pit lane. So basically the exit of the pit lane. Yeah. So they should be able to just send the car straight out. Do you know what I mean? So instead, what they did was they waited. Every other car had gone out, and then Haas had gone out at the back. And you've got 2 minutes and 20 seconds to get all the way around. Did you really think you were going to get 18 cars who were trying to do a warm-up, a controlled warm-up around, and that you were going to be able to start your flying lap? Yeah. I mean, why didn't you just have him out sitting there waiting? Surely it would have been better to be sitting in front of the light of the pit lane light for 10, 15, 20 seconds and sit there and make sure that you're first out on track. Because either that or you were going out. But no, they decided yet again to wait. So that was my annoyance with them on Saturday. And then I think today, when he started from the back. Now, his performance wasn't lightning. Like, he wasn't blowing anyone's hair back. But he also, again, this is what's happened with them. They make knee-jerk reactions. It's like they don't go in with any strategy. Like, we're starting from the back. Okay, they're going to go, all right, we'll go hard tires, like we go long and let's see what happens, right? That's the default. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Then you get a virtual safety car and they freaked out and they came in and they threw on the medium tire. I'm like, you're at the back. Yeah. Just stick with your hard tires haven't gone off. He hasn't even been racing hard on the damn things. Like, those things are grand. Leave them on. No, they came in for the medium tires. Didn't work, came back in for the hard tires, still at the back. And you're like, quit making knee-jerk reactions. Have a strategy. They should be going into this race kind of going, okay, plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D from the back of the grid. This is what we do when we're at the back of the grid. And look, I know I'm saying this like an absolute ignorant asshole, and I'll give them some due. I'm sure they do have those plans in place. I'm not that stupid. But it doesn't come across during the race. It just looks like knee-jerk reaction after knee-jerk reaction. And I just think it's at the sacrifice of Mick Schumacher. And he came, again, like I said, he didn't have great pace today, but accompanied with yesterday's mess, today's mess, I don't think the team have done him any favors. I don't think they're doing him any favors at all.
Yeah.
You could torpedo that into the garage.
Well, I mean, he was lucky that he actually got his car around to the end of the race, because his teammate Magnussen was yet another Ferrari engine that didn't finish.
Yeah. And with Joe out as well, another Ferrari in Guan Yu Zhou.
So it was only really Mick Schumacher and Valtteri Bottas are the only two Ferrari engines that made it to the end.
Yeah,
that's it.
And I'll be honest, when I saw the other four go out, I thought it was almost going to be a sure thing that the Schumacher and Bottas would have gone out as well.
Yeah, straight down
power. Yeah, more so Bottas, because he was sort of involved in more heavy racing. Schumacher, obviously, he was just sort of cruising around. So yeah,
doing
it's
the shopping. So let's have a talk about not so much Aston Martin as a team, because I don't think there's much to talk about in terms of Lance Stroll. He just likes crashing that car. But Seb Vettel, um, I mean, a bit of a mixed bag. He ended up very high up the grid for. He tried to take, was it Pierre Gasly? Um,
yeah, yeah.
didn't work. Went down the runoff. Did by the way, a fantastic 180 to get back onto the track again. But ended up in sixth place. Wonderful from Vettel.
Yeah, I mean, it's a happy hunting ground for him, isn't it? He's
Mm,
always kind of, I mean, he came what, second last year? I think the
that's
year
right.
before he came, was he fourth or something like that the year before when we were at Azerbaijan?
Can't
That
quite
would have been
remember.
what, 2019, because I think we skipped Azerbaijan in 2020. Um, but he came, yeah, he was third or fourth anyway in 2019. So in that's that Aston Martin sixth, that's progress.
Yeah.
I like the comment from Christian Horner, kind of saying, yeah, well, they've got a good car, don't they? Obviously with a little wry smile. Um, wonder where they got that from.
Yeah.
So yeah, good results. Yeah, Lance Stroll, look, sure, yeah, was. I mean, you think he had two accidents in qualifying as well, didn't he? Um,
Ridiculous.
yeah, so that was what it was. I don't know what was wrong with him today, though. Why they boxed the car. I actually didn't see what the retirement was for.
Right.
And what was a cooling issue or something. Oh no, they said there was some vibrations or something like that. That's what it was.
That's what it
They
was.
said
Yeah.
some vibrations, and they
Yeah.
weren't good
He
vibrations.
he didn't he didn't seem to feel them himself in the car. It was just the team were picking up on it.
Does that surprise you? I
Yeah.
don't feel the vibrations. You're missing a wheel, Lance.
Yeah,
You're missing a wheel.
you're sitting there texting on your phone, Lance. Would you just
Yeah,
concentrate?
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I think that kind of that rounds up everything nicely.
Yeah.
Ferrari engines having a big old goose egg today, and it was a battle of the Red Bulls and the rest of the Mercedes engines.
Okay, do you want me to read out the driver standings and you read out the constructor
Let's
standings?
do it. Yeah, go
All
for
right,
it.
let's jump in. All right. Right, where we got here. So we got Max first, obviously on 150, Perez second, 129, still there in the hunt.
Mhm.
Oh, no, we don't have Carlos. We have Charles Leclerc in third, 116, dropping back. George Russell gaining ground, 99 points there, only what, 17 behind.
Yeah.
Carlos Sainz, 83. Lewis Hamilton, yeah, still thereabouts, 62 in sixth. Seventh, we got Lando Norris on 50. In eighth place, we got Valtteri Bottas on 40. In ninth, Esteban Ocon on 31. 10th, we have Pierre Gasly on 16. 11th, Fernando Alonso on 16th. 12th, Kevin Magnussen on 15. 13, Daniel Ricciardo on 15 points. 14th, we have Sebastian Vettel on 13. Yuki Tsunoda in 15th on 11 with his roll of duct tape. 16th, we have Alex Albon, no red hair anymore, on 3 points. 17th, we got Lance Stroll, 2 points, probably for the same number of crashes he did in qualifying. 18th, we have Guan Yu Zhou on 1 point. Mick Schumacher in 19th on Goose Egg. Nico
Way.
Hulkenberg,
Yeah.
20th on
I still love
0.
that he's there.
And still rocking up at 21 at the bottom of a 20-person looking
Oh,
grid. We
the
have
goat.
Nicholas Latifi on
Jesus.
0 points.
That's fantastic that Hulkenberg is above him still.
I love it. Every time we read these out, I love it.
I hope the season finishes that way.
Yeah,
No
me too.
notable movement there. Perez jumping up ahead of Leclerc.
Yeah.
That's the first time that's happened this season, so that's fairly notable. Russell obviously taking a step towards Leclerc as well. Um, all right, let's take a look at the team standings then. So up on top with 279 points, Red Bull Racing. 199 points. Second place are Ferrari. Mercedes-Benz taking another step towards Ferrari there with 161 points. Amazing that they are there.
Yep.
Unbelievable. And a hell of a gap between them and Lando Norris. Oh, I mean, sorry, Lando Norris and Danny Ricciardo. Sorry, I forgot he was driving for them. McLaren in fourth on 65 points. Alpine moving up with
To the
47
sad.
points.
Sorry.
um, Alfa Romeo with 41. AlphaTauri on 27. Haas on 15, Aston Martin also on 15, and down the bottom, Williams with 3.
All right. Well, before we roll on to the predictions, just a quick answer, so we don't kind of drag this out too much.
Okay.
What do you think is the realistic chances that Sergio Perez could win the driver's stand? I know, like, let's get sucked into the hype train. We got sucked into the hype train with Ferrari, and we all fucking look like laughing stocks. So let's do the same with Perez now, so we can all look like morons in 6 races time.
Okay.
Where do we see? Do you think there's a legitimate chance?
Before the race and into that first corner, the first few laps, I would have said, yeah, 100%. After seeing Max today, I don't think so. I think Max just has too much pace. He's too good, and I don't think Perez is consistent enough to get it across the line. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think if there was a genuine reason as to why his pace dropped off today, that explained that 20-second gap, maybe, I'd be the same. I'd kind of say, yeah, he's still in the hunt. But if this was just purely on pace that he just wasn't there from today, yeah, it'd be tough, wouldn't it? But I'm rooting for him. I really hope he does it. It would be great to see. It'd be great to see Perez win a world championship.
Definitely. The only thing we can be sure about is that Red Bull have 2 fantastic drivers, and I don't know if anyone is going to touch them this season. It's starting to look inevitable now.
He'll get a winner's medal.
Yeah. All right. Will we do some predictions? We'll have a look at last week.
All right. Okay. Let's call out Isidro's first because he's not here this week.
Okay. Let's slag him.
All right. Oh, can't really slag him too much. All right. Let me call out Isidro's here. So, right, Isidro. Actually, hang on. Wait. What's the score? The score is
4-2-0.
Still 4-2-0. Okay.
Yeah.
So 4 to me, 2 to you, Mr. Scott, and 0 to Isidro, who joined in late.
Yep.
Okay, so Isidro had Verstappen for the win this week.
Yep.
Yeah.
1
so
point for you,
1
buddy.
point. Perez he had in second, and Sainz he had in third. So
good shouts. All good shouts.
So what did you have, Owen?
I had the exact same. So I had Verstappen, Perez, Sainz. I think Isidro made a big deal out of that last week.
Yeah. Yes, he did.
What were your top 3, Dave?
Oh dear. Oh Jesus. All right, I had Leclerc in first. Give a sec. Verstappen in second.
Ugh.
Yeah. Perez in third.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Shocking.
All right. Are we gonna go flops or surprises?
Let's
go on. Okay.
Yeah, no. Let's go with the Isidro's first of all. We'll talk about the flops. So he had said that Norris was going to be outside the top 10.
Oh, yeah. Fuck you, Isidro. Hope you're enjoying Duran. All right.
No points for you for not showing up today, Isidro.
Yeah.
Okay. My flop was a Gasly DNF.
Well, that didn't happen. In fact, he got the best result of it the whole season.
I called that one wrong completely. Yeah, absolutely. What was your flop?
Latifi crash first half of the race.
He did well to Latifi today, in fairness. He didn't crash. No tips. He was... Did
you hear the commentator say his name once? Other than at the start of the race when the mechanic pushed him back to maybe jolt him to realize, are you awake in there, Latifi?
And there was an inspection to see whether it was actually him, because he made it around the formation lap without hitting anyone.
Yeah, exactly. Stop go penalty, but it was just to check that it is actually Latifi in the car.
No, nothing happened for him. He just drove around looking at scenery.
Yeah. All right, goose egg from me on that one then.
Touring Baku. God help him. Where are you there? Oh, yeah. Latifi's
all right. So Isidro's surprise was Gasly P6. I'm sorry to say, Isidro. I am sorry to say, but you have to get the number right.
That's so mean, isn't it?
I love it.
Oh, Jesus. What was Gasly? P5?
P5, yeah.
Oh, so close, Isidro. But I mean, I think I have him top tier, in fairness, in terms of bad shouts. I knew what I was going for. I just wanted to nail my colours to the mast and go hard. I said, for my surprise, Latifi top 10 finish. It
Yeah,
was never going to happen.
that was
Never.
a tough order. That was.
Yeah, never ever
Um,
going to happen.
yeah, well, mine didn't exactly work out too well either. I had Schumacher for a points finish,
Oh,
which I
yeah, I
thought
mean,
was going to happen. I really did. I thought this was his moment, but it wasn't.
no, it was definitely not.
It definitely was not.
So come here to me. We if we tally up the points there, it looks that myself and Isidro come out with 2 points, and you come out with 0.
Yeah.
So
So
what way do
that's
we decide this now? Who takes the win today?
it's just a draw, so it's just 1 point apiece, isn't it?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We'll just do it a draw, so it's 1 point each then for the win, or for the
Okay.
for the draw. Surely, yeah,
Perfect.
that's the best way of doing it.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Okay.
we'll just say Isidro's not here, so you win
Yeah.
by default.
Yeah, I'll take that. So after Baku, it would seem that you're on 4. I am now up to 3, Dave.
Big
Uh-oh.
numbers coming in. Big.
I'm like George. I'm the George Russell, Mr. Consistency.
Yeah, that's it.
3, and then Isidro is down there on 1 point. Fair play to him. He's on the board anyway.
He's on the board. Yeah, that's the main thing.
He's our Nico Hulkenberg. He's put a performance in.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's let's look forward to Canada then. I'm looking forward to Canada. It's a great race.
I like this track. Yeah, I really do.
Yeah, it's a good one. I like the old wall of champions. Well, who doesn't? Like, I mean, it's an iconic corner. All right. Well, I have Isidro's here. So, will we call out Isidro's top 3?
Yeah. Go for it. Let's do his top 3.
So Isidro has gone with Sergio Perez for number 1.
Okay. He didn't give any reasons with these, did he? He just gave us the predictions.
Yeah, he just given that he was too busy fucking jamming out.
Duran.
Duran, hungry like a wolf.
Oh, is that Duran?
Isn't Duran hungry like a wolf?
Hungry like the wolf. That's a great tune.
It's a banging tune.
I hope it is Duran. Anyway, go on. Yeah, next one. What's his number 2?
Verstappen is number 2.
Oh, nice.
And Charles Leclerc in number 3.
Ooh, interesting.
All right. Okay. So, do you want to go with my top 3 or your top 3?
Let's go with yours first. I think I went first last week, did I?
All right. Okay. I have Leclerc first.
Ooh.
I know.
Jesus.
I'll explain that later.
Okay.
I've gone with Perez second.
Shady Mac. These are big shouts.
And I've gone with Sainz third.
Oh, Dave, I don't know what you're at here. Okay. So are you doing this purposely to try and score some points the other side of our predictions? So trying to get something a little bit away from what we would have predicted.
No, I genuinely think like I'm legit here. I think this is going to be
what's happening. Okay, I'll give you mine, and then let's talk about it a little bit.
We'll get into we'll get all the names on the board here, and then we'll discuss the my thoughts, my thinking.
Interestingly, none of us have a matching top 3, which is interesting. So I have Verstappen number 1.
Okay.
I have Perez in number 2.
All right.
And I have Russell in number 3. So I have, we all have a different winner.
Yeah.
We all have a different. Oh no, we don't. Me and you have a matching second place. But none of us have a matching third place. That's it.
All right. Let me see. What are we going with? We're going with the flop next.
Okay, we get straight into them. Okay. What
do you want to do? Do you want to do the surprise first?
Well, no, I wanted you to maybe explain why you went with Leclerc, Perez, Sainz.
I think we need to have all the names on the board first.
Okay, do it. Go on. Yeah. Okay, so let's go.
Do you want to go flop or surprise first?
Let's go flop first.
Okay, so Isidro's flop was Lando Norris with a DNF. He gave a reason.
Interesting.
Now, he hasn't given a crash and I think that's okay. I think a DNF is fine for Lando Norris. I
Yeah,
think
that's
for him
suitable.
not to finish is a surprise.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, you go with your
Okay.
flop this week.
I'll go my flop then. My flop is going to be Lewis Hamilton. And I think that is because, oh, sorry, I'm going to say that it's going to be bottom 10. Is that the right thing to say?
Outside the top 10.
Outside the
Yeah,
top 10
yeah.
finish. And I think he's going to do a lot of moaning. Is my
he likes Canada. It's a low force down. Yeah, okay. Let's get the names out there first, and then we'll
okay.
And
Under 10 and at least 5 moans.
Okay.
From him.
All right. Well, hold yourself when I give my flop. So I just remember we're going to do the discussing after we've all the names out. So let me just give it. So be prepared to try and bite your tongue and push on past this to the next one. Right.
This better not be Latifi again. All right, go on.
My flop is Max Verstappen.
Whoa, Jesus!
With a DNF.
Oh my God, that is huge.
I'll give my my thought process now at the end.
I was very surprised he wasn't in your top 3. So I had a feeling you were going to go that way with it, all right. But I just didn't know why you were going that way. Okay. We'll go surprises then. What's a surprise?
Zedro, the absolute lunatic Portuguese man, has gone with Daniel Ricciardo. P8.
It's like he's never watched Formula 1 before in his life.
I know. I can't fault him though. P8 is a fairly respectable number to go with. It's not like he went P3 or something like P4 or something like that. He's played it cool on that one with a P8.
Yeah. That's fair.
All right. Who's your surprise?
My surprise is going to be Sebastian Vettel P8 as well.
Is that a surprise?
After today's race, probably not actually. Yeah, that's probably a good shout. Let me have a little look.
I mean, Vettel inside the top 10, you'd be like, yeah, that's kind of what you'd expect.
Yeah, okay. I can change that. Okay, I'll change that to Albon P8.
Oh, Jesus, I don't want you to go suicidal on it.
No, I'm going hard. No. I was
I'll give you Vettel, but I mean, nudge it up to maybe P7. I'll give you P7 or something.
No, I'm going to go hard. I'm going to go hard again. I'm going to stick with Williams. They're my boys this year. My brother recently bought a Williams t-shirt on the back of that. It was the cheapest of all the Formula 1 t-shirts. So we're now a Williams family, apparently. So I'm going to go Albon.
Aldi, did he?
Yeah. He's in the States. He bought it in Costco or something, I believe. He got it free with a coffee.
I think they have Aldi in the States, or is that in Canada or somewhere like that?
Oh, do they? I didn't know that.
I think so. I think they have Aldi, or maybe it's Lidl or something like that.
Let's not get into supermarket chains in America. This could derail very quickly.
Exactly.
Okay, let's not say PH, but I'm going to say top 10.
Albon top 10. Okay, cool.
Is that all right?
All right. So my surprise is going to be, I'm doubling down 2 weeks in a row. Schumacher, points finish.
Ooh, Schumi. Okay, points finish.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see that as being too much outside the realms of possibility, although it still would.
He's never scored a point in Formula 1, so
yeah.
I thought I'd just that'd be a good one.
Okay, like everyone, we're all hoping for Schumacher to score some bloody points, please.
Yeah, exactly, and just and find some confidence and just kick on, that start getting more regular points on the board or something like that, or at least good finishes,
just something. Give us something.
All right. So do you want a brief?
Yeah.
What
tell
I think
me
is going to
why,
happen?
Dave. Tell me why.
So I think, either Verstappen or Leclerc are crashing out.
Ooh.
And I was hard to pick which one it would be. I'll be honest. I actually think it's probably going to be Leclerc could crash out. I see the wall of champions collecting someone, or I just see someone getting collected with a barrier somewhere.
Right.
But I thought on it more and more, and I was thinking these two are going to push hard. I think it's going to suit both of their cars quite well. I think both of these teams should go fairly well around the circuit. So for that reason, because they might be fairly evenly paced, I think they might be pushing harder, so that there might be, they may be pushed into a mistake. And yeah, I know Leclerc is probably the more likely one to have the mistake, but I don't. was something there niggling with me going, go Verstappen. So yeah, I'm going Verstappen with a DNF. I'm opting for a DNF, but I think it's going to be a crash. So
do you think then, obviously, that Leclerc is going to outqualify Verstappen, and Verstappen's going to have to come from behind to try and pull that place back within the race?
I didn't really think too much on the qualifying. I was more just thinking the race in terms of how hard they'll have to push each other in the race. Qualifying wise, yeah, anyone's guess. I don't know. We wouldn't have a clue. It's a toss of a coin between them. In fact, it could even be Perez that could
surprise. I was about to say that. Yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah.
All right, that's it for this week's episode, folks. We'll be back next week for the Canadian Grand Prix. Looking forward to that. Should be a great one. As always, if you want to get in touch with your own questions, comments, or corrections, send them on to feedback@latenightRaceReview.com, and do send them through because we do check them sometimes, or anywhere you find us on social media. Until next week, everyone.